Elon Musk accepts President Nicolas Maduro's challenge to a fight. That is a news article headline in the year 2024. As apparently, it is not merely just YouTubers anymore who challenge one another to boxing matches to settle personal grudges. This is now a genre that includes the heads of state. God. Historians will look back upon this era of history and just shake their heads and sigh, and then continue reading because it will be a truly fascinating train wreck. And, you know what, immediately I look upon nonsense like this and think, well, this is a petty and childish way of resolving disputes, and not a very constructive one either, and yet another part of me thinks, yes, let us legalize dueling as a way to resolve disagreements. Hey, it's gonna be more effective than a lot of the ways we're currently doing it. After all, the Venezuelan election is apparently not perfect, as the US voices serious concerns. There is a degree of irony in that, but we're still on YouTube, and that's still a little bit of a sensitive topic, particularly considering upcoming events in the United States of America. But this whole nonsensical thing, right? So Venezuela is currently up in arms, in essence, as the results of the election is highly disputed, as apparently pre-election polling, which is illegal in the country, which I absolutely adore. I love that. Like, it's illegal to take pre-election polling. Why? Well, it would be a lot easier to demonstrate cheating if you can, before the election, go, hey, we've got so and so many percent of the vote, and then you go to the polls and go, wow, that's weird. Now, of course, previous elections in, again, the US has proven that polling is not necessarily a reliable scientific art form, but still, showing the opposite candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, had double the support that Maduro and his United Socialist Party of Venezuela had. And yet, Maduro, of course, won. Yes, one might indeed begin to wonder if there is something slightly off about this, and considering the president is now challenging Elon Musk to a fist fight because, Maduro said Musk wants to invade Venezuela with his space rockets, one does indeed begin to wonder if the right man did win. You know what? I would love for Elon Musk to invade Venezuela with his space rockets. I think the Venezuelans would accept it and welcome it at this point, if for no other reason than because it would look goddamn awesome. Like dozens of SpaceX rockets is kind of hovering in over the beaches of Venezuela, disgorging Muskian stormtroopers into a welcoming population. You can't tell me that wouldn't look awesome. And it would probably be a mostly peaceful invasion as well, so hey, everybody wins. But to bring this to a somewhat more serious topic here, as thoroughly ridiculous as this is of course not how it was supposed to turn out. How Venezuela's socialist dream collapsed into a nightmare. Oh, my heavens, how could this happen? How could yet another socialist state fail after implementing its socialist policies? It's just so difficult to understand. In short, Venezuela has become the world's most visibly failing state. It wasn't supposed to go like this. Not so long ago, Venezuela's socialist revolution attracted a share of fellow travelers, first world idealists, hungry for the next earthly utopia. Yes. See, therein lies the problem. Utopia isn't real. I know this is difficult to fully understand for socialists, but it is a fantasy. And the worst part is, Venezuela, of course, should have every advantage and every possibility of becoming a very successful nation. It is an oil state in the Americas. I mean, hell, if they had simply sidled up to the US and started tonguing its bumhole, it probably would have become an extraordinarily wealthy nation, because the US would, especially now with the petrodollar nonsense, become highly dependent upon its petrol export. Hey, look at us Norwegians, okay? We're a tiny little bumfuck nation of about 5 million people, and yet we are per capita one of the richest nations on Earth because of oil. And we had to get all of that oil technology basically from the Americans at considerable cost, whereas Venezuela, well, they're right there. It wouldn't even be particularly difficult. But there is no economic situation, no matter how advantageous, that socialism cannot turn into an economic disaster, of course, as here's the thing. I joke when I say, let's legalize dueling as a means of resolving disputes, although, honestly, do I joke? I mean, come on here. Here's the thing, right? We could probably make dueling a very effective and relatively safe way of resolving disputes. Give everybody a nice full-body Kevlar-style vest, like the ones they use in fencing, for example. Give the two sides blunted weapons, melee only, none of that pussyfooting shooting pistols at dawn nonsense. That's absolutely dumb. Axes, if you must, like rapiers, swords, polearms, shields, all of that good stuff, and bonus points if you're wearing plate armor as well. And you have a medical team on standby, and frankly, your odds of dying in a car crash would probably be significantly larger than being killed and or significantly maimed in such a duel. And here's the thing too. In the case of a nation like Venezuela, you can vote your way into a socialist government. It is dangerously easy and even tempting, as the government goes, oh, we are for you, the people. We'll give you free stuff, free healthcare, free benefits. We're gonna bury you in money, we are. Just vote for me. It is all too easy to fall for the promises and not look at history and go, wow, this has been tried before, and it hasn't worked out either. But you cannot vote your way out of a socialist government. And the reason for this is extraordinarily simple. It is because socialism is a greater good ideology. When a socialist government enters into power, it does so with the absolute, holy, God-given right of rulership. They believe that they have been voted in for the correct moral reasons. And therefore, since they are the good party of the good people with the good politics, if they are ever voted out, they must be done so by the bad people with the bad politics and the bad morality. Because the socialists view themselves as the avatars of good. They have predefined themselves as the heroes, and thus, obviously, everybody in opposition to them must be villains. And is there anything, any action, no matter how heinous, no matter how illegitimate, no matter how cheaty or circumspect, that is not justified to take if you, the good guy, is being attacked by the villain? Those other evil right-wingers out there? Of course not. If you have already defined yourself as the greater good, there is no act, by definition, that can be illegitimate. We've talked about this on several previous occasions as well, with socialism in politics and culture in general, and that is exactly what is happening here. A socialist regime is never going to be willing to hand over power because it will never view that transference of power as legitimate, inherently and automatically so. I mean, hell, the entire fundament of socialism is in essence a rejection of democracy and capitalism. They are useful puppets, tools to be used when advantageous. If the populace is going to be retarded enough to vote you into office, then of course you will allow them to. But you don't actually value democracy. You don't actually value the public's opinions on any of these matters. You are simply using it as a stepping stone. And when you do stuff like this, Elon Musk, you want to fight, so let's have it. This is probably a sign of a rather desperate regime, trying to bolster its popularity in whatever way it conceivably can, with, you gotta unify people against an outside threat, right? The US is usually that threat in the most cases of socialism, das evil Amerikanischen Kapitalismus, which was also the Germans' excuse, mind you, and the Soviets and every socialist regime thereafter, basically, as that is a key and core shared sentiment of socialists, whether they be the international or the national variant, a hatred of capitalism, and in this case, the outside threat is particularly idiotic. And hey, with legalized dueling, we would solve all of this, since the best way to depose President Maduro was simply to go find the largest, buffest right-winger in Venezuela and have him beat the shit out of him. At which point the leftists will have to try and find the biggest buffest leftist, but, well, here's the thing. Every single solitary time that the socialism versus socialism dispute has been resolved by a street brawl, well, the national variant has come out on top. And hey, at least that one we can all unify against as actually bad, whereas the international variant has had a far better PR team. So, I see no downsides in this whatsoever. And hey, it would also be advantageous by forcing all of the wannabe intellectuals to also be physically fit. Otherwise, no matter how good of an argument you come up with, it can easily be countered by a bigger man going, I think you're smaller than me. Fight me, bitch. Which, to be fair, opens up for a fair few potential problems in human society, but it would also be, if nothing else, funny. So yeah, remember, always, you can vote your way into socialism, but you must fight your way out. And, if the government also does what the government usually does, like in Venezuela, where it took everyone's firearms, good luck with that. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.